love to the GU team, please. We've got Michael.
Did Erica leave the call? I'm not sure what happened. I don't see her anymore. Hi everyone. I guess I'll continue the love for the GU team. We got Jillian on tech and Marguerite also helping us out with tech today. I'm not sure if Erica's Wi-Fi cut out or what happened, but I'm sure she's there. She's coming back right now. Erica, sorry about that. I took over the GU staff introductions for you. I don't know if your Wi-Fi, I don't know what happened.
I don't know. Zoom is playing games with me today. Zoom likes to play games. I'm going to be calling Zoom today and saying, what the heck, what's happening? But I knew that the team was in good hands today. So the GU staff is happy to be here. I don't know if you've seen Marguerite before, but Marguerite is here as tech support also, and delighted that she's with us too. So I'm going to say hi to each and every one of you, starting with Miss Kay and Miss Stacy. Buenos dias. Good morning. How are you? Looking fabulous. Miss Kay, you look refreshed. Like that vacation helped you?
Most certainly. I'm ready for the next one.
Oh, I know.
It was amazing.
Good. What did you end up doing?
We just went to a beach house, so a house right on the water. And with COVID and all the lockdowns, you're not supposed to be at the beaches because it's they've been closed. So it was nice to still be so close and still enjoy the sea breeze. So that was amazing.
I like how you're like, we just went to a beach house.
Yeah. After 15 years, we haven't been on a vacation for all those years. So it was super important to have family time and no screen time.
No screen time. Oh, I like that. So I want you to know that you were missed on Friday, and Miss Jada was like, where's Miss Kay? She's going to start a revolution. I was like, she's on vacation. She's okay. So really happy that you're here. And Miss Stacy, you're looking wonderful. Are you in the office today? Got you. Okay. So we won't bother you too much. We'll try to keep it on the down low here. Khalifa, Angelita, Hazika, hello. Hello, Jewel and Jada and Victor. Malaysia, Jahim, and Chanel. Give me some love. Hello, hello. Chelsea, Esley, and Kristen. Hola, hola. Colleen, Thalia, Ayushi. Welcome, welcome. And Noah and Micaiah, super happy to see you today. Buenos dias. Sometimes when I'm really happy, I can only speak in Spanish. And you know what the funny thing is? When I get angry, I can only speak in Spanish because when I was a baby, that's my first language. So I have stories to tell. We'll chat another time about that. But today we are going to start by asking for 1 or 2 volunteers to talk about the Friday session. And I'm asking if 1 or 2 could, and you'd raise your little emoji hands, if you could talk about the Friday session, like what stood out with you, what stayed with you, and why that was valuable to you. So go ahead and raise your little emoji hands and let me know what did you think about Friday? You know I can see you, right? So raise your hands. And I'll just remind you what happened on Friday. It was about food and chana and roti, and Chanel has raised her hand. Go, girl.
So I thought I would have enjoyed Friday more if my Wi-Fi was better, but I think that the conversation that they were having was really, really nice because they were talking about the different cuisines from the different countries, and that was interesting to hear for me. Even though I didn't really hear most of it and I got cut off for the last part.
So, Chanel, I appreciate that even though you have technical challenges, that you persist and you try to stay with us. So thank you for that. Kudos to you. All right. And Hazika.
One of the biggest things for Friday for me, about Friday for me, was the fact that Grenada and Trinidad has so many similarities in terms of culture and food because Jada was talking about oil down, and oil down is pretty big here in Trinidad, I would say, and that's their national dish. And I was talking about pilau, and pilau is also quite common in Grenada as well. So I was really shocked to hear that.
Cool, thank you. So lots of similarities. Sometimes we have the same thing and we might have even just a different name or word for it. For example, avocado, I grew up with my Dominican dad and Colombian mom, and we eat avocado all the time. When I lived in Argentina, I was walking and I was like, what is that fruit? Because it was a little bit of a different version of avocado that I had seen. And they called it palta. And I was like, what is that? And I was like, it looks like an avocado to me. It was an avocado, but just because they had a different name for it. And I don't know about you, but I grew up eating avocado with salt and a little lime or vinegar. In Brazil and in Argentina, in the places that they eat it, Argentina, they put sugar on it and they put it in smoothies. So it can be the same thing, but we do different things with it. Isn't that interesting? That's something I love about learning language and cultures. So what do you think, Michael?
Yeah, I have unfortunately not had a wealth of travel experiences in part because of COVID, but I love that as well. That's very interesting to me. And I know that I don't know whether it was with this group or another group, but we did a greeting with, oh my gosh, it's like the name of this fruit that I've never had before. It's like orange and there's like a pit. You have to, I think it has like a bunch of different names throughout the Caribbean, but that was so fascinating to me to learn about.
The Guinness.
Chenet,
Yes,
Chenet, and Guinep,
yes.
and yeah.
They have all those different names, and I've never had one before because they're just like not very common here. That was funny to learn about. But
Well,
yeah,
they're delicious.
thank you all for sharing. Yeah, so thank you all for being here. So as you know, from the hero's journey, our heroes must adapt and learn new skills if they want to overcome the challenges they face along the way. And in our Youth Ambassadors program, one of the greatest skills that leaders can learn is the practice of diplomacy. So working together with open communication and negotiations to achieve some sort of consensus. So prior to today's session, you all worked in groups to review funding proposals for what we called the UN Youth Committee for Civic Action, these global health initiatives in this fictional country that we called GRUSA. So today, each group is going to have 8 minutes to present their funding proposals. And you need to give justifications as to why you chose to fund certain things and not others. And we'll have a break about halfway through. But before we go into the presentations, we want to give you 10 minutes in your groups just to finalize your presentation, make sure that you're all ready to go and that everyone has something to contribute. So we'll send you into those rooms just about now. I think Jillian should be sending you an invite very shortly.
Any questions or concerns? No? She's thank you. No? So then have fun while you're doing it, okay? I laugh because when you're face to face in school and you're talking to students and having a discussion, you're like, so what about this? And people will do this. I know you know this because we've all done it. The teachers ask you to do something and people are like, oh, and all of a sudden I'm busy writing. And I'm like, I can literally see your expressions on your face. I know you're trying to avoid the question. All right, Kristen is probably lagging a little bit with her. So Jillian, do you want to go visit? Marguerite, do you want to go visit a class just to like be a fly on the wall, or if they have anything? Michael, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. But I'll just go for like a couple of minutes and then I don't want to be like in the because I don't have much to say, so I just want them to like
No
each their
worries.
own, but
I'm gonna go visit two, or I'll stay.
Hi, my lovelies.
Hello.
So I was put into my group and they're saying that Kristen needs to be with them, please, because she was assigned to them. Is that okay?
We're trying to get her there. She just joined. I think her
Okay, super.
connection was lagging.
Because they told me I'm not supposed to be there. I'm like, excuse me. Well, thanks a lot, guys.
Well,
I was
they
like,
were
touch base with Erica.
they were
And then-
asking for you. They were like, "Where's Miss K?" They were very
See-
polite about it, but they were
Okay.
just like, "Where is she?"
Why didn't she show up?
Yeah.
All right, you can put me back with them then. No worries. I'll chat to them a bit. Thanks.
Ciao. Jillian will put you in just a sec. Kristen's back. Where should Kristen go? Which room?
Room
She,
3.
will you give me co-host powers, please? That way you can go visit. To assign. Hey, Kristen.
Hi.
We're gonna put you in. Are you just having some internet issues?
Yeah, I am.
No worries, okay? We're here to help you and we're super happy you're here.
Yeah.
Okay, let me put you in room 3.
Hi, Kristen. They sent me back for you. Cool, thanks.
For some reason, I can't assign right now. Let me see. Request code. Jillian, can you put her in room 3?
could we change the settings momentarily to allow screen sharing for participants?
Yes.
Because they were trying to share their screen.
How do we do that? Because I'm trying to put, let's, 1 second. We want to put Kristen in room 3.
Yeah, she's just lagging.
Okay. And then now we want to make sure everybody can do screen sharing.
Yeah, I don't know how do you do that? Anyone know?
Marguerite might know.
I'm not sure, but let me look it up and see if I can try to help you figure
Let
it
me
out.
see here on the corner. I'm looking on the little green shield on the upper left-hand corner. And enabled audio share screen. Vamos a ver. Enable the remote control of all applicants side by side. Full screen. That's the option. A ver, what if we click on participants? Does that do it?
If you make me a co-host, I may just be able to go into the room and share from there if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think that it might be something that we have to set up in the Zoom account, like online. So I can start trying to do that right now, but
Okay.
maybe it's a good idea. If
I think
Hey,
also you can
Colleen, 1
I
sec.
just
What's up?
changed the. Oh, sorry.
We can't share screen in our breakout rooms.
We're
Yeah.
working on that right now.
All right.
I just tried to put who can share all participants. So let me go back and try.
Okay.
And if it doesn't work, let me know.
Okay.
I'm going to go
Thank
into
you.
the breakout room.
And Colleen, what room are you in? 2? So for some reason, I'm a co-host, but I can't assign people. I was able to assign a minute ago. I'm gonna go visit while you guys work on this.
Okay,
you
they can
should-
share screens now.
How'd you do it?
Well, so you go to where it says share. So you have to be a host or co-host. It says share screen. There's like a little caret in the top right with advanced sharing options. Who can share? All participants. So now everyone can share. But I think they just need a little bit more time because they wanted time to go through the presentation.
Can we? How do we
So
extend
I
time?
told them to give them. Well, we just won't close the breakout rooms. I told them we'll give them another like 5 minutes.
I was thinking that,
once the
but-
breakout rooms get to 0, we will just broadcast a message, say like 5 more minutes, and then we'll close the rooms at like 10:27 or something.
Okay, perfecto. Let me look at the script.
And can I go to a room if there's time?
Go for it.
Would you mind putting me in one of
Let's
those?
make you a co-host. 1 second, Mark, so you can like. Did we make you a co-host? Why can't I make anybody a co-host? Jillian, will you make everybody a co-host?
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I'm a co-host. Thank you.
Jill, go visit.
I know I would, but I'm like in a very intense conversation with Bed Bath and Beyond right now.
Okay, got you. So I'm gonna go visit then. So I see group 1 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, Marguerite just went into that one. So there's one group with just 3 folks in there today. 1, 2, 3. Did we separate them by the groups that are in there? Did they get separated by the groups that they work together with?
Yes.
Okay. So Stacy's in here. Who's in here? Khalifa, Ashley, Hazika. Kay's in there. Marguerite's in there. I'm gonna go to room 1.
I just broadcasted a message. I said we'll give them 5 more minutes. So like 10:28, we'll close the room.
I was in breakout room number 1. Could you put me back, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey Noah, let me put you back into your group. What's that? I think we can bring them back now.
Okay.
Just because, yeah, I don't want to spend like too much time in the room. Hello, everyone. I think everyone's coming back now. We'll get started very soon. We hope you're all prepared, excited. This is a really fun session. It's very interesting to see how you all tackle the problem in different ways. So I'm excited to see what you've come up with. We'll see you in a sec.
Welcome back. I hope that gave you some good time together to just gel a little bit with your presentations. Any questions or concerns right now? Okay, then we're going to start with group 1. And group 1, who are you? I think it's Jahim. I think you were in group 1, yeah?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
So will you introduce your group and then get started?
Sure. In my group, there is Chanel, Angelita, Thalia, and Makia.
And as you listen to the groups present, you might want to take notes if you're in the other groups, okay? So you might want to have pen and paper ready and take some notes to listen, because you might hear something that you're like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. And it'll help you in a later activity today. All righty, so who will start, Jahim?
Yes, please. I'll just ask Makia to share the screen. Thank you, Makia. Move on to the introduction, please. Thank you. All right, so good morning, everybody. My team and I have been tasked with the important yet difficult decision on how to distribute funds of US $1,000 for community projects that will improve Grusa's environmental well-being. I will start with number one, clean habits and hand washing stations. Hand washing stations. All right, so my group decided that we would not provide for the 5, but we can do 350 for 1 year. We chose to install one hand washing station in the park for 350, mainly because the park, we believe, was among the other locations, the most frequented place, especially with picnics and community events. In helping us protect them as well, we also urge the citizens of Grusa to carry hand sanitizers with them when going into public spaces. I'll move on to slide number 2 with Chanel.
Okay, guys, so the second initiative that we put on towards was staying safe, and that was by preventing mosquito-borne illness or illnesses. So the amount we gave to this initiative was $40 for 100 pamphlets. So due to limited funding, we were not able to provide $200 for the training, but we used the remaining $40 to put towards the distribution of pamphlets. The community will still be able to gain education and research provided from the pamphlets, which contain information on the various illnesses and their control methods. So even though we didn't put a lot of money towards this, we all collectively agreed that these pamphlets would have done the job. So reading the different information on the different pamphlets will, help to educate the different community members on like how to eradicate mosquito breeding sites if some were to come about, and what to do if they ended up getting diseases like malaria and dengue, chickpea, etc. So moving on to Talia, that's doing number 3.
Good morning, everyone. Slide number 3 is about sanitation, water purification system. Next slide, please. Okay, the amount given was $150, which was $75 for 2 systems. We were able to provide funding for 2 of the 5 water purification systems. If we use 2, we can use 2 main systems, which can provide for the remaining 3. According to aquacarewater.com, water purification can significantly improve the quality of the water. Water purification systems remove all types of contaminants and hazardous substances from the water, which makes the water clean and safe to drink. As we know, water is very important. Water can be used to drink, bathe, cook, or even wash your hands, which is important in today's society. With water, you can do almost everything, and that's why clean water is important. You can get access to clean water and refreshing water all around the clock with the water purification systems. We will now turn it over to Makia with slide 4.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So slide 4 is about nutrition, micronutrient, and malnutrition. So everybody needs to eat to survive. So with this project, we gave it $160 for 2 years. Vitamin A can build up the immune systems of the people in Grusa. And in our research, we found out that it can protect children from mosquito-borne diseases like malaria. So this funding will contribute to preventing mosquito-borne illnesses as well as malnutrition. While we were unable to fund for the $350 for the 5 years at a discounted rate, we can negotiate for $150 for a 24-month period. And I'll pass it on to...
Thank you, Makia. Good morning, everyone. So slide 5 is about women's health, women's menstruation. So the amount we gave for this initiative is $100 for the materials and $50 for 1 workshop. So our idea is to create a chain reaction. whereas 100 women would educate themselves and subsequently educate others. So basically, these 100 women would educate themselves and then they would educate others. Like, for example, mothers would educate themselves and they can be able to educate their daughters, their nieces, etc. And this is really important because this would affect young girls from like with school, because you can, it would be really hard for them to go to school. So when they educate themselves, they would be able to get the proper materials on how to take care of themselves. Also, this is a period in a young girl's life where she has to take extra care for herself, because lack of this care can cause so many health hazards for her later in her life. So this is really, really important. Next slide, please. This slide is about women's health postnatal care. The amount we gave for this initiative is $150 for a 12-week program. $150 for a 12-week program provides training for the 5 community healthcare workers in various fields. Provided that these 5 are fully educated, they can help to educate others, at least 15 healthcare workers. So $150 for a 12-week program provides training for these healthcare workers in various fields. For example, postpartum depression counseling for women, postnatal care for the baby, also diet for the infant and the mother. So these 5 healthcare workers will be fully educated in this 12-week program, and they can also help to educate others, at least 15 healthcare workers that are interested in this healthcare sector. And I'll pass it on to Jahim.
Thank you. For this one, you can go ahead, Makia. For this one, sunscreen protection. Although, yes, we understand that this may be important, we were forced to prioritize, as I would have mentioned earlier, due to our limited funding. And we were unable, to provide for this project at the moment. I'll move on to our final slide, which will be done by Makia, just showing you the budgeting of how we stretched our money to help with the fundings for each project, if not all.
Thank you, Jahim. So as you can see, 35% was spent on clean habits. So that was the majority of our money. And then we spent 30% on women's health, 16% on nutrition, 15% on sanitation, and 4% on staying safe.
Thank you, Makia. And that is the end of our presentation. I just want to thank you guys on behalf of our team for giving us this opportunity to present this to you today. I hand back over to Miss Erica.
Thank you. I'm really impressed with the way that you presented. It was very smooth. It felt well prepared. You worked together as a team. And, you can tell us why, how much money you're giving to each cause, but what's really powerful is your reasoning behind it. Miss Kay, what do you think?
Absolutely. I liked how they were able to split it. So they didn't see it in the entirety. For some of them, they were able to say, hey, we can do this, but maybe not this, but that group still was able to get what they needed. So I liked how they did the whole presentation. Good job.
And something that stood out to me is that maybe you weren't able to give any money to the sunscreen cause or supplies, but you didn't spend a lot of time apologizing for that. You just said, like, this is what we were able to do. At this time, we are not able to do that. Keep going. Michael?
Yeah, very well done, everyone. I love the presentation information, but you made really great use of visuals. And yeah, I'm very impressed.
Okay, so we're going to ask group 2 to please present. Who's in group 2?
I think it's Ayushi, Colleen, Jewel, and Noah.
Okay, great. And you're able to share your document. Who's going to be sharing? There we go, Ayushi. Thank you.
Can you see my screen?
It's coming, yeah. And then to the rest of the group, remember to take some notes. on like their rationalization of why they decided to allocate funds the way they did, okay? Yes, Ayushi, it's all yours.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Our committee members are myself, Ayushi, Jewel, and Noah. However, Noah's Wi-Fi has been given a bit of a problem this morning, so he's unable to be here, but he is responsible for creating this lovely PowerPoint. We were given $1,000 to conduct budget allocations. Some projects we were able to fully fund, some were able to be funded on a yearly basis or partially, and some not at all. So we will go on to the first project, and that hands over to Ayushi.
Okay, so the first project, which had to be done with the hand washing station, and because of the COVID-19 pandemic, it is highlighted the importance of having good hygiene. And additionally, since GUSA is a farming community, hand washing is really important when it comes to reducing the risk of contaminating fruits and vegetables. So when it came to sustainability and funding of this project, so most hand washing stations last for approximately 6 months, depending on its usage. And the funding for it costs for at least $350 per station. And based on that figure, we would have at least 3 hand washing stations. So we funded this project $0. Why? Because we were able to fully fund the water purification project. And then we realized that it would have been better to have clean flowing water available rather than just 3 hand washing stations that will last for only 6 months. Then move on to preventing mosquito-borne illnesses. So the aim for this project was to reduce the number of mosquitoes in the workplace. And they justified this by saying that because of climate change, the temperatures will rise and the mosquito population will increase. So sustainability and funding of this project. So educational public health initiatives often require significant time and energy. The cost for this project was $200 per training and $20 for every 100 pamphlets. We funded this project $200. We decided to put that $200 towards the project because it was mentioned that the agricultural workers in GUSA can be exposed to diseases after working outdoors for long periods of time. We did not put any money towards the pamphlets since we did not find it necessary, since everyone will benefit from the training. Additionally, in place of the pamphlets, persons who attend the training can educate others so that everyone will have a general understanding of what to do. Now I'm moving on to Colleen.
Our next project to be funding was the water purification system that would serve to provide clean, safe drinking water throughout GUSA. We decided to fully fund this project because, as Ayushi mentioned, it would be better to have clean flowing water throughout the entire island rather than just a few hand washing stations. And because we have clean water throughout the island, then it can serve as a hand washing station in itself. So we fully funded this project, allocating $300 for the 5 water purification systems. Our next project to be funded was the micronutrient and malnutrition project. We know that it is important for GUSA's population to be healthy. So we have vitamin A fortification of the rice. And for this project, next slide, please. Right, so they said that incorporating vitamin A into the community's rice will build up the health of the population. In 5 years, GUSA's residents can plan how to further the community's healthy food supply. So it costed $80 per year for the supply of vitamin A, but it was discounted $350 for a 5-year supply. We decided to fund this on a yearly basis, allocating only $80 for this project, because based on how we allocate it, if the budget allocation remains the same, in the years to come, we would have more money for certain projects and we'd have to spend less money on other projects. I would now hand it over to Jewel.
Good morning. I'll do the woman administration. This project provides a series of workshops teaching women how to sew reusable sanitary napkins. Next slide. The reusable menstruation napkins will provide long-lasting benefits for women and girls. Once a few women within the community are skilled in sewing monetary napkins, they could potentially teach others. Additionally, women could use this as a small business opportunity by sewing and selling maternity napkins. We allocated $100, the first $100 for the materials needed to sew for the project, and $50 to take for training one set of persons. If at least 20 persons are knowledgeable in this area, they can teach others and start businesses. Next slide. Postnatal care. This project provides postnatal care training for local health care workers in order to distribute information from mothers. Next slide. Providing a mixture of hand-on and off training ensures that the community health workers can provide flexible care and response to the mothers. Additionally, the trainers will later the program to address the committee's specific needs and available resources. We allocate $150 to this project, facilitating the teaching of 5 health workers. Similar to the other project, these 5 workers can help with the training of others in order for the project to become more effective. I'll pass it on to Colleen.
And our final project was sun protection. Since most of Brewster's population is the farming population and they're always outside, they are more susceptible to the diseases created by the sun. So, next slide, please. The funding for this project was $300. I think was $200. Covers 1 week of screening, 1 week of screenings, and an additional $100 provides the educational prevention workshops. We funded this project $100 only for the educational aspect because we figured if persons were more knowledgeable of the diseases, they would know what to do to prevent it from happening and to protect themselves. And this is the end of our budget and allocations. We use a total of $980, meaning we have $20 remaining. But I just came to the realization that this $20 could have been put towards one set of pamphlets, one set of 100 pamphlets in the in one of the projects. I can't remember which one, but yes, this is the end of our presentation. Thank you very much for hearing us.
Well, that was so well done and well said. I think it's so interesting how your reasoning for each project was similar in some ways and different in some ways from the other group. And so I think there's strength in that, in hearing each other. From outside of the group that just presented, what was something that you heard that was maybe something that you hadn't thought of, or a strong point that you heard?
I thought that they had an interesting perspective at the very beginning in choosing to invest in the water purification system instead of the first project. They declined to assist.
The hand washing stations?
Yeah, the hand washing stations, correct. Sorry. Yeah, so I thought that had a really long-term perspective. So some research had gone in there, so that was commendable for the group. Generally, I thought that they did pretty well, very well, and you could see that some research really went into the project as well. So very good.
Yeah, well done. I'm impressed. Well done. I'm impressed by both groups so far. All right, group 3. Who's in group 3? Thank you, Miss Stacy. All right. Ooh, that looks pretty, that presentation. And who will be the first speaker?
Hi guys, how's it going?
Hi, it's good.
Hi, thank you. Okay, good morning everyone. As you can see from the first slide, this is a quick presentation on our allocation of funds for the Brewster community. My fellow committee members are Victor, Kristen, Talifa, and Ashley, and well, of course, myself. So moving on, I will be going to show you guys the order of progression. If these guys will move, thank you. So first we'll be looking at the hand washing stations, then we'll be looking at prevention of mosquito-borne illnesses and water purification system together. Then we'll look at the micronutrients and malnutrition project. Following that is the women's menstruation project. Then it's postnatal care project, and lastly we'll look at some projects. So for the hand washing stations, we allocated $350 for one hand washing station, and the reason for this is as the Grusa community is a farming community, they need at least one hand washing station near their entrance, so in their park, that is accessible for majority of the community, which is funded with the $350. This is to prevent the transfer or creation of foodborne illnesses and also limit COVID-19 impact through proper sanitization. And I'll move this on to Victor.
Good morning. I'll be covering for both prevention of mosquito-borne illnesses and water purification system. We chose not to fund for prevention of mosquito-borne illness. You'll see why. We chose to fund water purification system a $150 funding the implementation of 2 stations. Mosquito-borne diseases as a threat to public health as primarily caused by the lack of clean water access and poor sanitation. On the way to overcome these problems, we decided to improve sanitation practices and access to clean water supplies in a safe and sustainable way. In allocating funds for 2 stations, this allows every Grusan to access clean water themselves. Every Grusan will be healthier and at a lower risk of waterborne diseases. Newborns and mothers will have access to clean water, which promotes healthy development. Access to clean water will reduce disease, death, and poor nutrition. I'll pass to Kristen.
So I'll be doing micronutrients and malnutrition. We allocated $80 to this project for 1 year of funding. Micronutrients and malnutrition are both greater contributing factors to a great increase in deficiency diseases and health problems among the population. However, with a sustainable 1 year funding given towards relieving these statistics within the population of Grusa, there is a greater focus on sectors such as water purification to additionally aid in this being fully funded. And I will pass it on to Kelly.
Women's menstruation. The lack of access to feminine hygiene products is a widespread global issue that keeps girls out of school, which in turn reduces the quality of their education and causes women's opportunities to be limited. They have to stay home during each menstrual cycle, and as such, we chose to fund this project with $200, $100 for materials, and $100 for 2 workshops in order to, 1, give Grusa females an equal chance of being successful in life, 2, improve their health by lowering the risk of infection, 3, provide business opportunities, as the seamstress trade can be passed on to make money and provide Grusa with their own sanitary products. Finally, reusable menstrual napkins will have long-lasting benefits on both the environment and the females of Grusa. I'll pass it over now to Esley.
Postnatal care, we allocated $150 for 12 weeks, and we will be training 5 healthcare workers. It's important that healthcare workers understand the basic of postnatal care because the postnatal period is critical for the newborn. In the 12 weeks, the health workers will learn the entire postnatal process and educate the new parents of Cursa. We hope this helps to lower the rate of maternal deaths and complications, as well as neonatal deaths and complications, and improve newborns' death conditions. I'll pass to Hazika.
For our last project, which is the sun protection project, we allocated $700 US. This is just partial funding, as we were left with $70. Sorry, I said 700. My bad. As we were left with $20, the decision was made to partially fund the sun protection project. This is so the residents of the Gritsa community can possibly create a fund that is dedicated to the education of proper sun protection and skin diseases, as well as contribute to possible screening that may be available to them in the future. With that, I would like to thank you all for listening for our presentation, and feel free to ask any questions if you have any.
Again, well done. Well done. It's interesting, again, what I love about this exercise is listening to everyone's rationalizations or reasonings for why they chose what they chose. And here, what was one of the things that you heard outside of the group? What was a reason that you heard that you might not have thought of, or that might have just like made you think a little bit? If I could have a volunteer share. Because I'm looking. So for instance, here I saw that you fully funded the water purification, right? No, I'm looking at the other notes. I'm sorry about that. Well, I won't belabor the point. Let's go on to group 4. And group 4, we've got Chelsea, Jada, Malaysia, and Sudha. So who will be sharing their screen? Malaysia, thank you. And then for everyone else, remember to listen to the reasons that stand out to you.
I'll start. You ready? Okay, good morning, everyone. So today we'll be doing a project funding breakdown for the town of Grusa, presented by the United Nations Youth Committee for Civic Engagement. The members of this committee are myself, Chelsea Williams, Jada Glean, Malaysia Brown, and Sudha Balkaran Singh, but she's not here today, unfortunately, but she really helped with this presentation, so we'll just move on.
So as Chelsea said before, we're doing the tongue of Grusa, and we'll be looking at the tongue itself and its pressing issues. Next slide.
The town has a population of around 5,000 residents and is located far from the nearest city. The town is a farming community mainly dependent on sugarcane farming. Some issues identified in Grusa include limited economic opportunities, limited access to resources, namely menstruation products, large breeding ground for mosquitoes leading to high levels of mosquito-borne illnesses, and limited access to clean drinking water.
So community project proposals and funding. The following is a list of community project proposals in the town of Grusa and how our committee has decided to allocate the funds.
Okay, so the first proposal that we'll be looking at is Clean Habits Hand Washing Station. So upon analyzing the background information, we realized that Grusa has a bit of a problem accessing clean water, which in turn makes it difficult to practice proper sanitation habits. So our committee has decided to allocate $175 to this project. A reason behind this is that this program is not a top priority as the community is fairly isolated and is not at immediate risk from COVID-19. So one hand washing station outside of the market and promoting social distancing may prove to be effective. So once again, because our funds are limited, we will only be partially funding for 50% of the cost of one hand washing station. So this project provides funding to build a hand washing station made out of recycled materials, and the projected outcome is that it will provide a flexible part-time job since the community does struggle with economic opportunities. It will prevent the spread of diseases such as COVID-19 and also reduce the risk of food-borne illnesses.
The next project is nutrition, macronutrients, and malnutrition. Cruza's tropical climate supports the sugarcane farming community, as stated again. It is noted that both the wet and dry seasons are important for the town's survival. The funds we decided to allocate was $0. The reason behind this is that the WHO supplies vitamin A, which supports rice production. However, Cruza's community is dependent on sugarcane farming, and their tropical climates boost this community. The provision of vitamin A may not be a requirement. The project is intended to provide a yearly supply of the macronutrient for farmers to add rice. The projected outcome is that Cruza's sugarcane farming industry may remain unaffected. If future resources are required, methods of fundraising may be explored.
The next project we funded is the Stay Safe Preventing Mosquito-Borne Illness. Due to the tropical climate, which was previously stated, mosquitoes are quite prominent in Cruza and poses serious health risks to the members. We allocated a total of $220, and this is because mosquito-borne illnesses pose a major threat to the health of the Cruzans, especially the agricultural workers. Being a farming community, it's necessary for the farming industry to be well protected, and that includes its workers. The project details includes hired internationals who would host an 8-hour training session to provide the employers in the farming industry with proper education and resources, as well as incorporating safe practices. It also caters for the distribution of 100 pamphlets. The projected outcome is that the employers will impart the knowledge to their employees, who in turn will teach their families so as to incorporate the safe practices and reduce the risk of mosquito-borne illness. The pamphlets will serve as a guide as well as additional information to those who need it. With these resources, including knowledge and proper practice, the risk of mosquito-borne illness can be reduced or mitigated. Now turn you over to Malaysia.
Women's health postnatal care. Healthcare services in hospitals are not easily accessible in Cruza. The funds we decided to allocate was $130. The reason behind this is because postnatal care is crucial as it creates a healthy and comfortable environment for both mother and infant. Women in Cruza deserve to have this advantage given maximum support to their baby. This will contribute to a 12-week program for a third of the recommended healthcare workers, educating and encouraging them to be there for new mothers and infants. The program would allow more mothers to live sustainably after childbirth and support the well-being of their infants.
If Sudha can hear us, I would pass over to her.
Okay, so health and safety is some protection. So as we went through, Cruza experiences tropical climate and this supports the sugarcane farming community. You all can hear me, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So the funds allocated here was $100, and the reason
Sudha, I'm not sure if you can
why
hear
we did
me.
that is to ensure the
Sudha,
farmer's safety during the dry yeah.
You might turn off your camera.
Turn it off?
Yeah, because you're freezing a little bit. So if you turn it off, usually the audio will improve.
Okay, great.
There
Does
you
that
go.
help? Okay,
Yes.
great.
Right. So it supports the economic stability and it also supports the dependent funds allocated would contribute to prevention workshops, which will be held at night and inform attendees of the importance of sun protection. The projected outcome is that the workshops will allow farmers to become aware of healthy habits to protect themselves during work-extensive hot periods and also detect early abnormalities in self-examination.
I believe that's me. In Grusa, clean water is not readily available, making it difficult for them to practice proper sanitation habits. The funds we allocated is $225. The reason being is that water is essential for the well-being of all individuals, and the unavailability of water poses another major threat to the health of the Grusans. The program caters for the provision of purification by the World Health Organization for central stations access across Grusa. WHO professionals will cooperate with the community leaders to ensure protection and maintenance of purification materials. The funds allocated provides for the establishment of 3 central stations. The Grusa community would reduce or mitigate the risk of waterborne diseases, leaving their members healthier, especially newborns and mothers. It will have also reduced death, diseases such as cholera and poor nutrition.
Women's menstruation. Grusa lacks sanitary products to support feminine hygiene. The funds allocated are $150. This is because supporting this project is deemed to be crucial as women's opportunities are limited because they are forced to stay at home during their menstrual cycle. The funds allocated to this program cater for 20 attendees of an educational workshop and the obtention of materials for sewing sanitary napkins. Sanitary napkins / products will be readily available for women to use, and they will no longer be restricted to their home when menstruating. They will be free of infections or any long-term results of poor hygiene. Learning a craft such as sewing could potentially spark a small business and encourage locals to create a profit for themselves.
Sudha, I think you can take this, present on this. Are you guys hearing me?
Yes. I'm not sure Sudha can hear, so I'll just.
You want to, Chelsea, you want to close it out?
Yeah, sure, no problem. Okay, so this is our summary of just how we decided to fund all of the different projects. So just to like recap, we decided to give the hand washing stations $175, preventing mosquito-borne illness $220, water purification systems received $225, micronutrients and malnutrition $0, women's menstruation $150, postnatal care $130, and sun protection $100.
And this brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you very much for listening. And if you guys have any questions.
Well done. Well done. So I just want to give a round of applause to all of you because that was well done, well expressed. I can see the thinking that went into coming up with the allocation of funds, which isn't easy, right? Because they all seem to be good causes, but you only have a limited resource, right? You only have a certain number of dollars that you can allocate to this in this case. Let's do this. Can I get everybody to raise their hand? I can see you. Raise your hand. And give yourself a pat on the back. That was good. Well done. Now, what I'm going to do is let's do a 5-minute break. When we come back, we're going to look at the process of collaborating and coming to a consensus as a group. I want to hear your thoughts on how easy was the process, what were some difficult points, and what advice you would give to someone having to go through this, okay? So we'll see you in about 5 minutes. Stretch, grab a snack, grab a drink, some purified water, and I'll see you in 5.
Hey, Colleen, Jida. I want to ask a question. You guys seeing anything instead of the feed pertaining? Hi, Ezeka. Pertaining to the reflection for last week.
I didn't hear the question. What was it?
Pertaining to the reflection
First
for last
family
week.
or the reflection. No, I didn't see anything actually.
Yeah, because I was looking, but I didn't see, so I don't know what's going on with that one.
Yeah, I looked this morning just to make sure and I didn't see it. I don't know if it's probably it'll come later this week or something.
The reflection.
All right, Pardon?
Yes. Would you mind clarifying what this is, and then I can make sure and see if it's on Google Classroom?
The reflection
The
for last week.
3. Okay. Let me
Yeah.
check right now.
So I am so lost, sorry.
Jahim, are you speaking about the post session for the hero? That's
Oh,
it.
Hey, Kim.
I love what's up.
No, I'm talking about the on Fridays we would have gotten the reflection for week
Right.
3.
Yeah, like the reflection or the survey.
Not the survey. We
No,
got
the
the
reflection,
survey.
like when we ask the question after the end, that
After the host family.
yeah,
Right,
that for the
right.
Padlet
Okay.
link.
So that's what you're looking for. Yeah, yeah. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I was just confirming because we had 2 post sessions. I'm the hero on a vision board activity. But no, I didn't see that other one. So maybe Marguerite can help us.
Yeah. So just to confirm, last week did you have a reflection last week for week 2?
For week 2,
Yeah,
yeah.
for week 2. We didn't have for week 3.
For week 2 and week 3.
Week 2 and week 3. And where did you see it on Google Classroom? Was it under the survey?
I didn't see it at all actually for week 3.
Okay, let me write this down and then I'll speak with the rest of the team later. So you would like the week 3 reflection, and I'll make sure that we find it. But thank you for bringing this to our attention. And I think you all have a few more minutes left too in the break, so you're free to go get a drink of water.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I think just wait another minute for people to just make their way back. Love to see your faces. um,
That 5 minutes flew by.
it did. It always. It
I
feels
feel
like
like
it
that
always
was
does.
like 3 minutes, but maybe it was 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So the first thing I want to say is that you did an amazing job just working together and presenting. The way that you transitioned within the presentation was very impressive. We're going to do a couple of things right now. What are your thoughts on that process? Was it easy? Was it hard? Jada?
As a group, it was really good cooperating, like working together and kind of allocating the funds. It wasn't easy, I would say, kind of distributing the funds because you're wondering, should I give it so much? Should I give it so little? Is it that important? So it was like a juggling kind of thing, but the whole process and completing the project also, it was really nice. It was really nice working with my group members and to see how everybody else's presentation came out. I am very much happy and I learned a few things too.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jada. And then Colleen and then Hazika.
So in my group, I think it was a fairly easy process. There wasn't much disagreements. All we were thinking alike, and we were able to properly allocate the funds. We had a bit of trouble staying within the budget because we wanted to fund more, put more money towards different projects. So what we did was we went through each project and we allocated how much money we would if we didn't have a budget. And at the end, we went over and we fitted everything within the budget. And that's how we were able to get our final product. But it was it was good working together and the process was fairly okay.
Hazika.
I couldn't hear you guys for 1 second, but it was really easy working with my group. I would say that they were so cooperative, very open to communication, had amazing ideas. I really, really, really loved working with them. And they made it easy. The allocation of the funds, though, I would have to say was quite hard. I've allocated funds before, but never to this degree. Like in my class, I'm the class treasurer. So I've had to allocate funds for minor things like end of term class parties and things like that. Nothing to this extent where it kind of determined the level, the standard of living for a group of people, for an entire community. But in the end, I would just like to say that my group members made it work. We made it work. You did, of course, you had to ask the question like 1,000 times if you're giving too much money to this, too little money to this, if this is more important, if this is less important. But yeah, it's
Thank you for that. Thank you for your comments and your insight on the process. So you found it good working on a team. But sometimes working on a team is hard, just even finding a time to work together as a team. I really want to know, how did you pull that together? How did you find time to work together? What tools did you use or what, because you're working in different countries. So how did you go about doing that? Thalia?
Me and my group, we use WhatsApp to really chat about the allocation of funds. And then this is my first time actually using a Google, it's like a Zoom, like a Google Zoom in a sense. I forgot what it was called, but we actually video call on Google Gmail, which was very interesting to me because I did not know we could have done that. but we also use Google Slides to do our presentation where everybody could edit. So I think it was very, very good. And thank God for that. And thank God for that.
Thank you, Thalia. Ayushi?
For our group, what we did is that we made a WhatsApp group where everybody inside, and then we discussed the time in between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which would be good for everyone to meet. After that, it was around 10 on Saturday. Everyone was okay with that time, so we just went ahead. Colleen dropped a Zoom link in the chat, and then we just joined the meeting and discussed things then.
Gotcha. Chanel, you had raised your hand before. Did you still want to share?
What I was gonna say is that for us, like he would say like 8 EST, and I would say is that 8 your time or 8 my time, because I'm 1 hour behind everybody else. So when they say 8, it would be 7 for me. You were asking about how we worked out the time slot, so that's what I wanted to add in.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Jada and Hazika?
I was about to ask if we're gonna go together, but I forget what I was going to say. With regards to working out, we had formed a WhatsApp group chat where we would discuss time and so. And I think we actually met back to back. Is it Friday, Saturday, Sunday or so? And we met last night as well, and it's usually late, well, not late hours in the night, but we stay up. I think we met earlier yesterday. We met about 5 in my time, which was 4 in Malaysia and Chelsea's time. And we stayed until about 8, but the other nights it was like after 10, because I guess we're late sleepers. But that's how it worked out. Even with the time zone difference, we kind of found out how each other's time was, and we adjusted the time to suit.
Thank you. Hazika?
Yeah, similarly to everyone else, we formed a WhatsApp group chat. Well, Khalifa actually formed it. I think it was Khalifa, yeah. And then after we best talked, at first I had suggested that we go for Thursday, but Esley had school. And then I suggested Saturday because I wasn't sure if they wanted to do it Friday, as we had the host family sessions that evening. And then Khalifa said that she couldn't do Saturday. So then after I was like, well, Friday is really the only other option, because I didn't want to really do it the day before, like start fully discussing the day before. And we settled on Friday at 1. And we spent, I would say, about an hour and a half doing everything. And that was probably the fastest I ever worked in a group in my life. And yeah, we did it over Zoom. Yeah.
Wonderful. Now, I want to ask the GU staff to think about this, but the adult educators first. So Ms. K, Ms. Stacy, in your everyday life, in work or school or what in your everyday life, when do you have a chance to use these kinds of skills, right? Of diplomacy, of there's an issue that you have to resolve and there's multiple people involved. Can you describe an example of a time that you use that in your life? And GU staff, if you could think about that too.
Can you give a little better example?
Yeah, so like they had a variety of issues.
Yeah,
they had a variety of issues to look at. What they were all good issues, good causes, but you have a limited amount of resource to devote to that. How do you come to a consensus in your life, whether it's at work, whether it's deciding a vacation? How do you come to a consensus when maybe someone feels passionately about one cause and someone else feels passionately about another cause? And this question is for you too, youth ambassadors.
I think in any group thing and collaborating, finding out what people's strengths are from the beginning has always been a good start point for me, and like what they may be interested in, because I want to tap into something that they're passionate about or that they want to do. That kind of hinges then on to being able to delegate, as I was saying with the group before when we gave us some time. It's really important. If we had to do it on our own, which I see a lot of people are saying, it would have taken a lot longer. You may not have come to the decisions that you did together. So being able to delegate and know, okay, well, assign, you handle this, you handle this, you handle the other. That has been really good, especially in projects like this. And then being able to prioritize because we need to have a kind of timeline of how it has to happen so that we can all collectively have the same goal at the end and achieve that. So I think those are my three, like tapping into strengths, delegation, and prioritizing. I hope that answers your question.
It does. Thank you. And Michael?
Yeah, I can easily think of a number of times this has come up in my like college career. So I may have mentioned this before, but I'm in a like group of singers at Georgetown, and there's usually a lot of, I wouldn't call it conflict, but there are a number of like disputes or disagreements when we're deciding like the new music that we want to perform. So when we're thinking of new songs to add to our repertoire, we have everybody add suggestions to a list, and then we go through all of the songs. And it can get pretty like contentious at times because a lot of people are very like emotionally tied to the songs that they suggest. So if someone says like they don't want to do a song, the person might take that like personally if they suggested a song. So in my experience, I think diplomacy has been something where what I try to do when I'm like mediating those conversations is to say like, what are the benefits of doing this song for the group? Like, what are the drawbacks? Let's look at a list of pros and cons. Let's hear from everybody. Like, how are we feeling about this song? And then I think another thing too, that something that you all touched on in your own like funding proposals was, is this something that is urgent that needs to be done right now? And this is something that's come up in my experience as well. It's like, is this song really popular, like hot right now? Is it going to become irrelevant in a couple months? Or is it more of like a classic? Is it something that we could perform at any time? So thinking about urgency is also, I think that's particularly important in a lot of different types of negotiation and diplomatic endeavors.
I definitely agree. And if I could just add a few words, I completely agree with everything that's been mentioned so far, you know, tapping into other people's strengths, making sure that everyone has an opportunity to contribute based on their own knowledge, delegating and prioritizing. But I think that one thing I would add too is the importance of listening and empathy. And I think that's something that a lot of you worked on and got to experience in this. I think we talk about empathy and listening a lot, like in terms of diplomacy and in terms of personal relationships, and that's great. But I think it can also be a really powerful tool for kind of building a relationship and figuring out how to resolve these conflicting priorities. I read an article recently, and it was about how do we use empathy to heal political divides, but really any sort of divide. And what the article said was that there are two types of empathy. There's cognitive empathy, which is being able to understand why someone thinks the way they do and why they think the way they do. And there's emotional empathy, which is why people just kind of getting to relate to someone on an emotional level. You don't need to understand someone on an emotional level to understand them on a cognitive level, to understand why they're thinking the way they're thinking, to listen to what they want, and to listen to why they think it's important. So I think that's important too, you know, empathy, but also, as everyone's mentioned, tapping into everyone's strengths, learning to work as a group, delegating and prioritizing, I think all are key. And I hope that you learned some of these skills and these exercises, because at least in my experience, everything is a group project. A kind of life is just all sort of a group project, and figuring out these skills is really helpful.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone's words and insight. Marguerite, I think that it's so valuable to remember that to actively listen is very valuable. So we're going to do something now, because
sorry, could I just say one more thing? I think being able to overcome the challenges as a team was a very big common thread as well. Because with the time differences and people's availability and what they could do and not do and all that, like, everybody achieved greatness at the end of it, regardless of whatever hiccups, internet, no internet, whatever it may have been. So I think that was also to be commended, and a huge new skill or skill to keep working on with regards to approaching anything that we have in front of us, that resilience to try again and find new ways of making it happen.
Thank you, Kay. Stacy, I see your hand up.
Hi, yes. I felt I couldn't let this opportunity pass to say something on this one because this is actually what I do on a daily basis. I administer 2 grant funds, and one is for educational assistance, and the other is for what we call social outreach assistance. And so this kind of deliberation is something that I have to do on a daily basis. So I just want to commend each and every one of these young people as well for first having the right approach. They realized, okay, there was limited funds and you needed to go through a process to eliminate and determine where you can have the most positive impact. And so I was glad that everyone didn't try to offer assistance in every area because sometimes it's just not possible. You were able to go through, you did your research, and you determined, okay, we can have the most significant impact here. And that's sometimes ultimately what it comes down to, what you can do and where you can have most significant impact. A lot of these situations I deal with are individuals though, and not necessarily entire communities. And if there's a situation of hardship, my determination comes down to, okay, am I going to positively change this individual's situation or not? Because it may be a group of people on a list, but I will not be able to determine to give you assistance if I think your situation is long-term, something that I cannot, and my small drop in the bucket will not have a significant impact. It will not change your situation. And so because of that, I may decide, unfortunately, to decline on you and make a contribution where I know I change a person's situation positively moving forward and can get them out of that situation for greater long-term benefit. Then there's also things to consider, like whether or not this is going to be a long-term demand on the fund. Our fund, again, is limited, and so we really need to know that whatever we do with this limited resources can have a significant impact. And I think that your thinking was along those lines as well. So again, commendable performance for all of you. That was what I had to say.
That was so valuable. Thank you for adding that, because I think having that vision, when I was younger, I was very idealistic. So I wanted to solve all the problems all at once, but in real life, you can't solve all the problems all at once. And I think what you said, Stacy, that where can I make the most impact with the right now with what I have? So sometimes the hardest decision is realizing I can't help in this situation.
So true. So true.
Yeah. Jaheem?
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to relate with both you actually and Miss Stacy, because I think that was one of the hardest parts for my team. I'm sure Angelita can confirm, because we were there trying our best not to give a 0. And to be honest, at one point in time, I looked at the paper and Angelita can say, I was like, Angelita, I'm hurt. I'm a bit hurt. I mean, understanding that is a simulation, yes, but I was still hurt at the fact that we had to realize, you know what, we cannot fund for sunscreening. Some people will obviously be affected by it, but we cannot fund for it. And then I turned around and asked Angelita, is this what UNDers have to go through daily? Is this what organizations that have to make these harsh decisions have to go through daily? I said, because I'm here and I'm hurt. I cannot provide for sunscreening. And we are there trying our best. Talia, Chanel, all of us are trying our best to see how much we can provide for sunscreening, for sun protection. And I said, you know what? They're probably looking for a 0, so we're going to give them their 0, okay? We're going to move on from that and give them their 0. But yes, it made us really understand that there's some things that we just cannot, I'm going to use that word in the context, allocate for. And yeah, we just have to accept it sometimes and move on.
Thank you for acknowledging that. Yeah, sometimes you have to say no, because in one idea would be just take the $1,000, divide it by the number of causes and just give them that much money. But then does that accomplish what needs to be accomplished? Probably not, right? Chanel, I think I saw your hand up.
That was an accident, sorry.
Okay, no worries. Jada, your hand's up, and then Angelita.
I think Angelita should go first. I'll say after.
Okay, go for it.
Thank you, Jada. And I agree 100% with Jahim. We were talking and, it really broke our hearts, his especially, to put that 0 there. But it was all a matter of priority. I think that's the top thing that everybody learned throughout this project, to prioritize. And yeah, it was really, really not difficult, but it was heartbreaking to put that specific 0 there. It wasn't like the matter wasn't important. It really is important, but a matter of priority.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'll go now. I just wanted to say, Ms. Erica, when you said that taking the $1,000 and just dividing it by the number of programs, we actually did that in the beginning. And then we just we did that. And then we just kind of moved around because, as they said, prioritizing, we kind of saw that some things needed more investment than others. So we had to do the shifting again. But we did divide the $1,000 by, I think, the 7 projects.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's reminded me of a discussion that I've had a lot in my classes and my extracurriculars. Does anyone know the distinction between the terms like equality and equity? Does anyone know what the difference is, or might be able to comment? Yeah, Colleen.
Equality is ensuring that everyone gets the same amount, and equity is more a concept where you get based on your needs, more or less. So
Yeah, that's exactly it. You're totally right. And so this discussion, yeah, Erica, yeah, this is a great photo to demonstrate, just to illustrate these concepts. And it's something that I think is relevant here, because, you could have just given every proposal the same amount of money. I don't know what it would have come out to, like $100 something for each, but that's not always the right approach, because some proposals are not going to be as costly as others. Some are going to require more funds than others. Obviously, there isn't enough resources in this fictional scenario to go around for every proposal or every entity or individual that you wanted to fund. But I think this is always a really important thing to keep in mind, because not every proposal or every party of interest is always going to need, they're not going to have the same needs. So, giving everyone the same amount of money isn't always going to be the right approach, because, that amount of money might be more than what some people need, and it might be not enough for some other. So I just wanted to bring that up, because I think we were hinting at something there. And I'm glad you all were able to pick up on that and realize that distinction.
Thank you, Michael. Ms. Kay, you shared some great thoughts in the chat. Would you share, and if you want to share an example?
I said, and being able to reevaluate our decisions at any given point is also a great takeaway lesson. I think we've all realized that from this activity, even one of the groups, I think they mentioned, they had $9.80 spent and then $20 had left over, and they were able to just clearly see, hey, that's the $20 we could have put towards pamphlets, reevaluating at any given point, because whatever decisions we're making, we're basing it off of whatever we have in front of us. For example, you're all in high school and you're basing maybe the subjects that you would have chosen for your exams based on what's available now, and whatever you set out to do, you'll achieve those goals. Or maybe a challenge comes up and you take a different direction, but it doesn't mean that that's all you can do for the rest of your life. You can always pick up a different course later on and take a completely different path. So I think that fluidity, I guess, is a good way to use, that we make the best decisions we can based on what's presented to us, but that can also change along the way, and not to feel defeated or beat up ourselves about it, but more to just kind of gather the strength and be like, hey, let's just jump into a whole new adventure and see where this other route takes us. And I think that's also a really big takeaway from all that we have been able to learn today. And as Jaheem and his group was saying, I wanted to kind of empathize with them, because yes, we do want to be able to help everybody in all the different areas, but sometimes you're not physically able to, financially able to, emotionally able to, and we have to be able to prioritize. But I think you all did such an amazing job today. It was wonderful to see the rationalization, and I think that's important too. If it makes sense for you, that's what we stay true to as well, because that truth does not have to be the same for everybody else. So that's what I would like to leave off today with. Great job, everyone.
Thank you, Kay. I want to ask the youth ambassadors right before we conclude today. You've heard some words of counsel, words of wisdom from Ms. Kay, from Michael, Marguerite, and from each other. Could you, would anyone like to share maybe something that stood out to them and why? Colleen, please.
So, I must say, first of all, that I really enjoyed today's session. I've been nodding in agreement almost the entire thing. But one of the things I liked about today's session is the diversity in thinking, showing just how different everyone thinks and why it is important, or well, not why it is important to have other person's point of view on certain things to come to a conclusion. So that was one of the things that stood out to me, and also how much you could learn from others, because I was as fast as we was listening to the presentations after Jaheem's group presented, it was then that I realized that the extra $20 we had remaining could have gone to the pamphlet. So that was my takeaway from today's session.
Thank you. Wonderful. Hazika, I see your hand up.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say that Miss Erica, you mentioned that you're idealistic. Well, you used to be idealistic. I am a very idealistic person, and when we could not give money to each project, fully fund each project, it did break my heart as well, because I got a little anxious and worried because I felt like I was taking away so many opportunities from this community. And when Ms. Kay said that how we need to reevaluate our decisions at any given point in time, I took that and it kind of stuck with me, because you have to understand that you can't do everything all the time. You can't fulfill everyone's needs all the time. And it's okay to take a step back and understand, okay, that didn't work out. That's fine. This is not the end of the world. Things will get better eventually.
Hazika, being idealistic, sometimes it's like very romantic to be idealistic and so sensitive, but it was very valuable what Miss Stacy said about see what the best thing that you can do at that time with those resources, and then move forward with that. And that has helped me tremendously in my personal and professional life, to not just like, oh, I can't fix everything. No, forget that. No, you can't fix everything, but you do the best that you can at that moment with what you have. And sometimes you're going to have to say no to things, and that's going to be a healthy thing for you. So practicing that has helped me be more balanced, for sure. Anyone else? Jada, I think you had your hand up, yeah?
I think I heard my name.
I think you had your hand up.
I think, well, I didn't actually, but I do have something to say, so that's a good thing. The last few insights or words of wisdom from Hazika, Miss Kay, and Colleen also, it kind of really touched me about seeing, and Miss Stacy too, seeing what you can do in the moment and doing your best at it. I actually was writing notes, And also when you guys said that you can't fulfill everyone's needs, so you kind of have to prioritize. That's a difficult thing for me because I tend not to know how to prioritize, and I tend to always want to please everybody, and I don't know when to say no and when to say yes. So this is really helpful. This was really helpful.
Oh, that's good. One of the best books I ever read it's called How to Say No. I read it when I was around your age, How to Say No, and that no is a complete sentence. And because again, it's looking for that balance. And then when we take care of ourselves, we can help other people, so that's a book I recommend. All right, I'm going to turn the time over to Michael, but I want to say thank you to the whole team, to the GU team. Can we get some love for the GU team? Georgetown University team. Thank you. Can we get some love for our adult educators? And can we get some love for one another? All right, I'm going to turn the time over to Michael.
I love seeing all the little emoji hearts. They're so sweet. It's always like, it's all over my screen, but it's very, very nice to see. But you all had really excellent presentations. I was very impressed by how you presented the funding proposals, how you visualized that information. It was very clear that you all thought very hard about how you were going to divide that funding. You thought about the issues themselves, and communication was essential to this activity. You all practiced diplomacy both prior to and during the session today. So you can think of yourselves as already having these diplomatic skills that you're working to cultivate. And what I also wanted to mention is there are no right or wrong answers when we're doing this type of work. It's very different from other kinds of school work where you're doing a math problem and there's only one right solution and there's only one right way to arrive at that solution. This is very different. This is much more open-ended. It requires constant communication and teamwork. And at times it can be very exhausting, can be very draining. Believe me, I totally empathize with that. But you all presented your points very clearly, you worked together, and like your own heroes, you're working together to continually develop and strengthen your skills. So some people say that the best way to learn is by doing. I know we talked about that briefly in the little greeting for today. But if the best way to learn is by doing, you all have surely learned a lot from this activity, and I'm really proud of your work. So thank you for your hard work. Jada, do you have something you wanted to comment? I saw your hand was raised.
Just to read Sudha's message in the chat, she's not able to speak out, so I'll just be her voice if that's okay.
Oh, yes. Yeah, of course.
Okay, she's saying, my mic won't allow me, but I'm still able to take away so much from this session. I agree that the divergent thinking that existed among us was amazing. We were able to prioritize and agree to decisions collaboratively. I'm able to take away how important it is to think rationally and be gentle with myself when I can't allocate to certain projects. And that was her message.
Yeah. Thank you so much for jumping in for Sudha, Jada. I really appreciate that. Sometimes, so much going on in the Zoom chat and on screen. So there's a couple things. So thank you for highlighting that. And Sudha, yeah, I completely agree with you. Having that empathy with yourself is really important. Understanding that you cannot fix the world overnight. You can't fix every problem that exists. You're going to need to work in a team to even just start chipping away at problems. But when you have that teamwork, when you do think critically about the issues, it is possible to start implementing change in your communities. So I really appreciate that perspective. And I'm really proud of you all. Again, just really great work. I'm super impressed. Just a couple reminders. If you haven't already, make sure you upload that funding proposal worksheet to Google Classroom. I think the majority of you have done it. And so we have someone from each group, but if you could just turn it in on Google Classroom, that just will let us know that you've done the assignment. So that will just be helpful for our sake. So submit that if you haven't already. And for our next session, we're going to be discussing failure and success. So make sure to do the hashtag winning activity that we've put in Google Classroom, and watch the videos on different theories of failure and perspectives on that issue. Yeah, Colleen, did you have a question?
About the winning hashtag winning assignment, I was not getting, I was not being granted access to insert my picture. So
Okay. I'll take a look at that and make sure that we have changed those like sharing settings. Okay, I think I've just changed the settings to make you all editors. So let me know if you can add information. If you want to try going in now, Google Classroom, I'll send you all the link. But you all should be able to edit, because I think previously you were listed as viewers, but now I just changed the settings to make you all edit.
Michael, could you share that on the Zoom screen, and then we can see?
Sure thing.
And then the youth ambassadors, if you would go into Google Classroom, he's just shared the link, and see if you can add a slide.
Yes, I think we can now.
Awesome.
So I can add a slide. So if someone else can go in and add something, that would be great to have, just so I know that you all can.
And it's good in case you have a question about how to do this.
Okay. Yeah, you guys all seem to be adding other slides, so I think we are good. Yeah, so thank you for letting me know that you can all edit that now. And then just a reminder with that, like, just be a little careful, because you all do have editing access. Make sure you don't like try not to edit or change anything on someone else's slide. So just be mindful of other people's contributions to the collective. But I'm sure that you all will do a great job with that. So any other questions or concerns?
Michael, for the funding proposal, do we have to put the presentation as well, or just the handout?
If you would like to, feel free, but we just need the handout just to see how you split up the excuse me, just see how you split up the funds. But if you would like to upload the presentation, we'd love to have that. You all did really great jobs with the PowerPoints themselves, so we'd love to have those if you're willing to share. Great. Any final comments, questions, concerns? Okay. If not, we'll end with high fives, as we always do. So forward, back, left, right, up, down. I don't know which way to high five you all, but thank you all, and we'll see you.